Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So, this Sunday morning, is Bitcoin repeating a 500% pump pattern? Maybe. I saw something today I want to show you guys, and it's looking very similar to a previous pattern that Bitcoin formed, and it could indicate a tremendous move upwards. So, are we in that pattern? Well, I'll let you guys decide. Also, there's a few other pieces of crypto news I want to share, so thanks for tuning in. As always, smash up the like, subscribe to the channel. 2 streams almost every day, but today there will be another episode of DCA tonight at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, so make sure you tune in. But normally it's 11:30 and 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, so regardless, make sure you hit that notification bell and follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and check out all the latest news, articles, and guides on CryptosRUs.com. Welcome. Good morning, guys. Good morning. Again, I'm streaming a little early. You guys may have noticed yesterday and today I'm about an hour early because that's why I want to test it out. I feel like most people on the weekends, they get out and about by when I stream. So I'm trying to stream a little early to see how you guys react to it, see if this is more convenient or not. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. All right. So let's get started. Bitcoin is at 48.5, not back above 49.5. Yeah, yesterday it went up and then it just came back down a little bit. But looking at the weekly chart, something that's a little bit longer term. I know everyone wants to focus on the 5-minute, 15-minute, hour chart because they want to know what's going to happen exactly within the next day or so. But let's take a look at something longer. And I was looking at, this is very similar. And at first glance, you might not notice it, but something that happened recently on the weekly chart that was very bullish is if you look down here, and we'll just zoom in, make that a little bigger. You could see that the MACD on the weekly did flip green recently. And you can see it down here, right? We had a big downwards movement, obviously from 64,000 that caused MACD to go into red. And then it started flipping up to the green. And last time it did this, you can see back here, was around October. And that's when Bitcoin went up about 500%. In fact, it went up above 500%. Now, that has been repeated already. I've said that before. So you may be thinking, wow, George, you said this already, 500% pump. But here's the thing. Whenever Bitcoin goes up, it doesn't just go up forever. There's periods where it takes a breather. It just consolidates for a little bit, okay? So you could see while Bitcoin was coming up from October, and this was when it was still at 10,000, okay? $10,000. How many of you guys would like to go back in time and buy Bitcoin at $10,000? But if you take the bottom of that, which is around 10, around 10.3, and then you get to the point where it stopped, all right? Where it had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 consecutive green days, and green weeks, I should say, until it stopped. You can see a very little red candlestick right there, but it went up approximately 76% before Bitcoin decided to take a breather. And then we had a week where it basically did nothing. And then after that, it kept going until they took a breather up here again, right? So how does that compare to where we are now? Well, it's almost identical. So if you do it from the bottom, which was about 28 something, going all the way to where we are now, look at that. We're at 76%. So is that a coincidence? Well, it doesn't look like it. So for those of you guys that are wondering, did Bitcoin top out? Are we done at this, 49.5? Is it impossible to get past? Well, just look at this last run that we had, the 500% run. There's been stopping points. There's been breathing points, right? And the last time Bitcoin did this, it stopped right around 76%. And that is exactly, almost precisely the same point we are now taking a breather. So what does that mean? Are we going to stay here for a while? Are we going to stay here for a week? Maybe a week. But then let me remind you guys what happened after that breather. Bitcoin went up another 121% before coming down a little bit. And then after coming down, which is actually around 28, 29,000, then it went up another 124%. So it had 2 periods of 124% growth after the very first initial 76% growth. So can we see something similar? Yeah, if history repeats or just similar, right? Then yes. So where does that put us? If we go up 124% from where we are now, that will put Bitcoin right at $111,000. $111,000, right? This magical 6-digit mark for Bitcoin that we've all heard of before. I talked about it plenty, right? Can that happen in the near future? Wow. It's amazing to think about, but it can be happening in the near future. Just look at how fast Bitcoin went up when it was at 10,000 to 60,000. No one thought that was possible. No one on earth thought that from October going into February, which, you know what, 6 months? No one thought, no, 4 months. No one thought that in a 4-month span, Bitcoin could have gone up 6x, okay? No one thought that, but it happened. So can we, within the next 4 months, going into January, make this tremendous move again? Sure. Anything is possible. So for those of you guys that's getting scared, getting antsy, wondering if Bitcoin will ever get back to its 64,000 and beyond, well, right now, this pattern on the weekly looks very, very, very similar to the previous pump that we just experienced. So hang in there, guys. Just want to show you this right off the bat. I think this is interesting. Of course, there's other things that may or may not be similar. This is just one of those indicators that shows you that we're on track. Of course, I've been showing you guys a lot of other things, other metrics, on-chain stuff that shows you we are definitely on track. And while Bitcoin is on track, yeah, altcoins are still doing fantastic. Bitcoin dominance went down a little bit today. You have something like Cardano that wants to join in the fun. Last few days, Solana, Terra, or Luna, I should say, and Avalanche has been on a tear. Cardano is like, hey, don't forget about me. So it's starting to come up a little bit today. May break its previous high of 296. Can we hit $3 for Cardano today? If the market turns up again, Bitcoin goes above 49, heads to 50, that's certainly possible, right? Overall, altcoins are doing really, really well. And kind of like, you know what, everyone's kind of like waiting for this next big leg up, right? With Bitcoin, with altcoins, yeah, waiting for that. All right, so what else is going on? Well, here's a good reminder for those of you guys that aren't familiar with dollar cost averaging or DCA. Well, this article reminds you why it's important and why savings accounts are basically worthless now. So it's very different. Savings account from years ago where our grandparents or our parents, right? There was actually a really good reason to be saving because savings account provided tremendous amount of interest. Right now, you may be thinking, well, hey, if you stake stablecoin, right, you get your 7 or 8 or 9%. That's pretty fantastic, right? But once upon a time, you could have gotten 20% by saving your dollars into a savings account. That was back in the 80s, and throughout periods of the last 100 years, there's been good times where it actually paid to put money into your savings account. You got more than 7% interest, 8%, 12%, 15%, almost 20%. But right now, it's at zero. Basically zero. It's 0.004. Think about that. And why is that? Because the banks can borrow from the Fed at 0.25%. So if the banks can borrow from the Fed unlimitedly at 0.25%, do you think they're going to give you 1% or 2% or 4%? No, they're going to give you basically zero. This is why savings today is just, quite frankly, silly and not smart to do. Putting your money into assets, appreciating assets like Bitcoin just makes a whole lot of sense. Even if you don't buy Bitcoin, you can put it into literally anything else, and it would be better than holding on the dollar right now as it devalues. And anything's really better than having cash in your savings account, unless you're trying to save for a rainy day, right? Or you're trying to buy the dip. Well, then that makes sense. But if you're trying to make money by saving in a saving account, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. So this article is pretty comprehensive, and it goes down. This is what I really wanted to show you guys. DCA over long haul. If you're DCAing into Bitcoin, you think of it as the new generation of saving accounts, then you're doing well. Then you're doing very, very, very well. So had you just invested and put your money into Bitcoin since 2018 and you DCA'd, I don't know the exact specifics. I have done this before with a DCA calculator with you guys, right? Even if it's just a little amount, even with the volatility of Bitcoin and bear market, bull market, 2018 to now, you'll have 268% gain. Even 2019, 188% gain. 2020, 116% gain. Even in the beginning of 2021, you're at 6% gain, which is better than the 0.04 from a savings account, right? So DCA Bitcoin works, especially newcomers in the space. A lot of people are very overwhelmed. They have no idea what they're doing. They have no idea when to buy, when is a good time to buy, when is a good time to DCA, when is a good time to sell or take profits. Well, the beauty of DCA is you don't need to know any of that. As long as you know you're investing into the right asset that will appreciate over time and appreciate more than $1, right? Then you have a winner on your hands, and that is exactly what Bitcoin is. And if you go back 2017, 2015, 2012, 2011, the percentage just keeps climbing to the point where it's millions and millions and millions of percents of returns, right? So is buying Bitcoin a new savings account, or can it replace savings account? Yeah, it's looking like it, and I totally believe so. So the only thing is, I have said this to you guys, right? Having cash on the side is important for when there is a correction coming or something major coming. I do agree with that. You should have cash to prepare for that. And that is one of the main reasons why you want to take profits on the way up, is so that you can actually buy in when there is a dip coming. Now, I think that is a smart play. But if you're just saving everything you have, you're not investing at all, and you're just saving in a savings account, then it's just wasting away. So there's a difference there. What else is there? Well, Glassnode alerts, daily on-chain exchange flow. You can see Bitcoin has lost about $50 million. That's flowing out of the exchanges. Reserves is decreasing. Ethereum had 262 million flow out. I mean, Ethereum off the exchanges is just flying out like it's like there's mass exodus right now. It's quite amazing. Even Tether has flew out about 89 million, which means that people are taking it out and utilizing it for something, or people are afraid of Tether at this point. But the Bitcoin and Ethereum one is a telling story, because over time, there's just more and more and more and more and more flowing off the exchanges. They're either going to custodians or cold wallets, or they're being used for something else like DeFi. And that's very important, and in a way makes Ethereum deflationary, right? What else is making Ethereum deflationary is the massive amount of uses right now. I mean, take a look at this headline. Ethereum fees jumped 154% since last week. $400 at Uniswap fees. $1K to interact with OpenSea. $1K. Think about it. Just to interact and get something, an NFT will cost you $1,000. And this is the reason why, because you have like CryptoPunks and others that are just so darn popular. CryptoPunk has hit 1 billion in sales on OpenSea, and everyone is getting involved. Steph Curry is getting involved. Visa's getting involved. Budweiser's getting involved. So there is just so much going on. And because of all this craziness with NFTs and just general usage, you could see that EIP 1559 with burning ETH I mean, it's just going crazy. Right now, it's at 5 ETH per minute, which is fine. But look at the last 24 hours. It's averaging 5.32, and in total, about 409 million million dollars worth of ETH already gone. And this is still so early. So as the market continues higher, as NFTs get hotter, as DeFi gets hotter, this number is going to increase substantially. It's going to hit. I have no doubt it's going to hit 1 billion by the end of the month. I mean, by the end of the year. I mean, that's a lot. 1 billion worth of ETH just gone, right? Within months. And it could increase even further. But you know what? For those of you guys that are frustrated, there are alternatives, right? Obviously, there's different chains with different AMMs, with different marketplaces. There's different swap plays, right? This is why other chains like Solana and Terra and Avalanche and soon Cardano are going up, because people realize that even though there's a lot of coin burning, there is still congestion going on and very, very high gas fees. And it just makes the experience less enjoyable when you have to pay up to $1,000 to buy an NFT, or $400 in Uniswap fees just to make a trade. Well, yeah, but there are alternatives. For example, one of my partners, Energy, has their energy swap, which gives you almost all the same functionality as Uniswap, almost every single trading pair out there, and you're trading for near zero fees. So yes, there's definitely alternatives out there. For those of you guys that are sick of fees, look at alternative for now. But in the meantime, I would still be holding on to Ethereum because it keeps dropping in terms of the reserves, and the momentum with all these projects just keep increasing. So you still definitely want to hold on to Ethereum, in my opinion. All right, that's pretty much it. Overall today, Sunday, light volume. I mean, light news, right? I just want to show you guys a few things. Let's do a quick Q&A. Scrolling up, Duarte, you think that would be the final top? I don't know if you're referencing into what I was drawing here, right? This very first 125% would bring Bitcoin up to about 100 and where is it? 100 and why am I not reading this right? 110,000. And if we did go another 124%, I think this is what you're asking. From here, where would that put it? That would put Bitcoin right at 250,000. You see, none of these numbers are arbitrary. I mean, people have mentioned it. Why does 250,000 sound familiar? Well, it's because Plan B, according to Stock to Flow X, puts it there. You have many prominent investors like Tim Draper and Mike Novogratz have called 250,000, right? Kathy Wood of ARK Invest also sees it. They look at things like network activity, addresses, use cases, adoption, buying, right? So if we do the same, if we go up the 500% like before, from our local bottom here of 28,000, and we follow the same pattern, Bitcoin could be at $250,000 by the end of the year, maybe going into early 2022. Could. Doesn't mean it'll follow exactly, but history tends to rhyme. All right. Scrolling down, let's see if I missed anything else. The VeChain, yes, another one that still waiting for its moment, it's huge pump moment. People are still sleeping on VeChain, but it is surely moving forward. Mr. Black Dolly, every bank hates Georgia. I don't know. I had some bad experiences with banks, so yeah, there you go. I like Helium. Someone asked about Helium. They're doing very well these days. Still hard to get a Helium miner, but I hear the rewards are very, very good. And they're just expanding out like crazy. I think over 200,000 miners now around the world. They are doing very well. Where's Theta going? You know what? Bitcoin goes up 5x. Theta is at least 10x. So you do the math. You do the math. If Bitcoin goes up 5x, 500% from here to 250,000, most of these big cap altcoins and a lot of the mid caps will go up at least that much. But most likely they're going to go up more. There's going to be a multiplier. So maybe 10x, maybe even higher. I've seen it. I've seen what happened tail end of 2017. You would not believe the gains that came from it. I mean, it was crazy. Dollar amount is much higher now, right? So maybe not the same kind of percentage movement as 2017, but we know there's a lot of money out there. A lot of money worldwide. A lot of people, institutions, companies still waiting to enter the space. DeFi Kingdoms on Harmony, best looking decks I've seen. Are you sure? Almost all dexes look pretty much identical. It doesn't even show up. Sorry, it must be too new. But there's Viper, there's Mochi, there's Sushi. If DeFi Kingdom, that sounds more like a game than anything. But pretty much all of them look pretty similar. Do you know anything about a recent bug in ETH causing a fork? I read in CoinMarketCap the bug impacts older versions. No, I did not read about that. So I don't know. If there's a fork, don't worry about it because it's not like a contentious fork where there's going to be another chain. It just means that it's going to be upgraded. Just like EIP 5059. It was just an upgrade. Non-eventful. Luna holders benefit indirectly from the growth of Terra ecosystem. As UST finds more use cases, each Luna token becomes more scarce, and there's burning. But pretty soon, with their new upgrade, they're going to actually reward the stakers. So, yeah, they have a good token economics. And recently, just yesterday, I talked about Terra, I talked about Avalanche. Avalanche has something similar, which is why I think they're also good and going up because there's more use cases, there's more token burning, and there's a set supply, and they seem to be onboarding a lot of new projects as well. Check out Coin Hunt World is a geolocation game you can play to earn BTC ETH answering trivia questions. Okay. You called me when will it boom? Well, I think it'll boom once it moves to Ethereum. I think that's it. I think with NFTs getting hotter, it's going to catch the wave. But when they move to Ethereum, I think that's when it changes. What's your prediction about Arweave? I just mentioned it. They're a big part of Solana. So they're going to get carried with Solana. As well as the other projects, major projects like Radium and Serum. But Arweave is the storage play. So I think they're going to be carried upwards. What's your current mood on Harmony? Why is it so stagnant? Hey, things come in waves. Harmony has made its waves many times before. You can't expect every project to make a wave every single week. I know it's hard, right? But think about it. 36%, 37% in the last 30 days, 850% basically within the last year. It has made moves. We get spoiled by guys like Solana right now and Terra, right? I know we get spoiled by that, but it's not always the case. These projects, Terra was on a multi-month, non-movement until it started moving. And Solana was the same way too, right? Things come in waves. So just make sure you're holding on the right ones and have patience. Patience. Why is AMP not on Binance? I don't know. It'll probably get added soon. What else is there? I'm not into yield farming plays like Auto Farm. Just not my thing. What do you think will happen to XRP's case since SEC director just resigned? I don't think anything's going to happen. Unless Gary Gensler resigns, nothing's going to happen. I find those SEC commissioners or directors or whatever, anyone under Gary is almost like pointless because Gary's the one that's making all the decisions. Wax, overall, I think they're undervalued. Ren, host to host, chains coming soon. You know, I have not kept up with Ren, so I don't know. I can't really speak to it. Let me just remind myself what they do. Open protocol provide access to inter blockchain liquidity. They sound a lot like. Yeah, they sound a lot like Thorchain. Their liquidity provider for DeFi. That's what it sounds like. Engine, I do like Engine. Still, I know they haven't done much, but they just came out their new Definity chain with Polkadot. They're still very involved with NFTs. They have a lot going. I like them. DCA, $1,000. Yeah, I would say buy in increments, okay? If you're truly doing DCA, dollar cost averaging, then buy a little bit, right? Then wait, set a schedule. Every same time, same day of every week, buy a little more, buy a little more, buy a little more. Just do that, right? That way, you're following what this is saying. Basically, DCA like a savings account, right? Maybe every time you get paid, you know, rather than have that entirely in your savings account, maybe put a little bit of that into Bitcoin or something else like Ethereum or Cardano, and just a little bit, and over time, it definitely grows, and it grows much faster than leaving your money in a savings account. Although that's not financial advice. That's not financial advice. Everyone's situation is different, so you have to decide what's right for you. All right, last few questions. TZ says Harmony is my sponsor. No, they are not. They are not. What is the latency on mid large cap gains after BC up goes up exponentially? I don't know. Sometimes it's like the same day. Sometimes it's a few days. Sometimes it's a week later. It depends on how much momentum there is into Bitcoin. I mean, sometimes Bitcoin pumps so much, the Bitcoin dominance starts going up because it sucks the liquidity out of the altcoins. We don't see that very often these days, but it has happened many times in the past. And if Bitcoin goes on a 500% run really quickly, it can suck out the liquidity too. So that's why I always say you don't want to give up on Bitcoin. Fetch AI, not really interested in their AI piece. They're just another blockchain with AI aspects built in. Did you look into Polygon burn? No, I did not. I didn't hear about that. All right, that's pretty much it. I'll let you guys go on this Sunday morning if you're in the US. Hey, Bitcoin, is it repeating the same pattern it did a few months ago? Well, I should say back in 2020, not a few months ago. Maybe, you know, basically like a year ago, you know, almost to the T, because that was September. Obviously, we're in August, so maybe a little bit off. But this crazy run we had from September all the way to basically in February and March, Bitcoin went up 500%. And we're showing the same pattern. MACD flipped to the green. And then we see we have this same point where we're taking a breather after going up about 76%. And afterwards, are we going to follow this 124% gain and another 124% gain to get that 500% gain from where we are? That could put Bitcoin at $250,000, which is a point where a lot of people think it will go. Hey, I think it could be coming. So stick with Bitcoin, stick with crypto, and we'll get through this journey together. All right, thanks for tuning in. Smash a like, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys tonight with DCA. Another episode of DCA at 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. All right.